Hello, welcome to this YouTube video, Facebook video, this show, this episode. For This is a unique episode of Pioneering Perspectives, where I'm interviewed with this lovely Jade.
Hello.
Hello, and we're going to talk about truth and bullshit, problems and solutions, and patience and urgency, and other complementary opposites such as seeing the big picture and the details, knowing that you're enough, that you're doing enough, and that you could do so much more. So all of these complementary opposites are very important, and in this one we're going to focus on just these three: patience and urgency, problems and solutions, truth and bullshit, because a lot of people have problems in that area of their lives, and that causes havoc and a lot of destruction if you're focusing too much on the solution all the time, on like jumping towards a solution without recognizing the problem, for example. Then if you don't even know what the problem is, then you're not even going to come up with the solution in the first place. So it's so important. Like, I'm just reminded of this quote I saw in this book the other day, which is right here. It's a beautiful quotation that really describes what this is about in the beginning of this book. Oh, here it is. Prologue. So I'm reading from my Kindle, and it's from a book called An Uncommon Vocabulary. He says, "Men are four. He who knows and knows not that he knows not, he's a fool, shun him. He who knows not and knows that he knows not, he is simple, teach him. He who knows and knows not that he knows, he is asleep, wake him. He who knows and knows that he knows, he is wise, follow him." And that's an Arabic proverb. And in NLP, this is the four types of competencies, going from unconscious incompetence to conscious competence. It's another way of saying this. But yeah, a lot of people live in this ignorance of, not even knowing that they have a problem in the first place. Or they try to like shut down the problem and only want to go into empowerment, only want to go into not being a victim. But you need to recognize being a victim or having a problem in the first place before you can come up with a solution. And that's part of the bullshit patterns of people when they want to jump towards the solution all the time. So we're going to talk about that too. Or when they want to be too patient and take a long arc view instead of just realizing there are urgent problems in the world and in their own lives that need solving right now, like the fact that the rate of species extinction, like 37,000 species have already gone extinct just this year alone, just in the last 3 months. Just like one every 5 minutes. So you need both. So yeah, so she's going to interview me, and she's going to start off by talking about how we met and then how we reconnected after not seeing each other for a while, and then what she learned from me, especially about learning how to recognize bullshit. And we're going to start off as an entry point or an entryway for that. So you have the floor. Yes.
Well, ta-da! Hi. I think the camera. We have to
There we go.
zoom in.
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, hello. I go by Jade, and I met Kundan at. I feel like I'm blocked. I met Kundan at a drum circle actually, and the first thing that I noticed was like, oh, look, there's a free soul. And what I mean by free is somebody that's not chained down by, what people think, what society pushes down our throat. He's just very authentic. And that's one of the things that has always stood out to me from day one till day now, 2 years, I think 2 years and a half later. And, like I was telling him before, like I think he's the definition of what a human being is. And, everybody's a human. Some people act like animals, but, it takes work and dedication and a lot of compassion and wisdom to be able to reach a level of a high being, which is resonating at a higher frequency. And that frequency, it's so high, it's vibrating at such a high level that everyone around him just benefits from it, and he doesn't take anything from anyone. It's quite the contrary. He gives. He's a very giving person, very giving soul, very compassionate and authentic in everything that he says and everything that he does. Example, this video, he's making it to help somebody out there, so that's what I think. It's something to strive for. If everyone was a little bit more, more authentic, more real, more compassionate and giving, like this man over here, this human being over here, then I think it would be a great connection. We would grow and evolve faster and better. So without any further actually, you said how we met again, right?
Yeah.
So I was driving back and I saw this free soul walking around, and I pulled to the side and I'm like, Kundan, get in the car. And he's just like, oh, hey. He got in the car, and it felt like you stopped communicating, right? It just felt very natural, right on the moment. And we went to this one event, and the beauty about it is that it doesn't matter how long it passed. When you meet a soul and someone that you can connect at age of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. You still feel the same way, a deep connection. And that's why I'm here today. So today, so many things that I learned, like I said, just with his presence alone. But he definitely has taught me things and tools that have helped me just cut through the bullshit, because internally, your intuition tells you one thing, and then your mind second guess, and you start like making up excuses for the truth. And Kundan is very, very good at seeing the map, seeing everything, and being able to pinpoint where the wounds are, the confusion, more than anything, where the bullshit is, without being intrusive or overbearing. No, not at all. It's very simple. He's like, hey, I see your map, I see your treasure, and I want to remind you of that. And it's almost like a guiding light, what do you call the light on the ocean?
The watchtower.
The lighthouse.
The lighthouse.
He's a really good lighthouse. So he points out, your light, so then you remember. And it takes really an authentic light being to be able to reach another person's light and remind them of who they really are, which is a human being, a soul having a human experience and evolving into a human being. So without any further ado, Kundan, thank you very much for inviting me. And I know you have a really good topic to cover today. And I'll be asking questions, if you like, that probably the audience will be wondering about. But please begin whenever you're ready.
Yeah. So tell us about what you learned regarding how to recognize the different forms of manipulation or the different forms of bullshit, like gaslighting or consent trolling, and how that has helped you end toxic relationships, recognize patterns, and walk away from toxic people, and also be with the right people.
Yes, definitely. The conversation that you had with me 2 days ago, I think, we were talking about the different manipulation tactics that people use, and some can be subconsciously, others consciously. Either way, it takes, even if it's subconsciously, it takes a lot of practice to get to that level where it's just automatic. It's like a bad person doesn't know it's bad because it's just what it does every day. So until someone really helps them see it through, see the map. You see, Kundan is a good map guide. He shows you your whole map. He picks up all the pieces that you have here and there that you're not seeing, and he puts it in a picture that's like, okay, well, here's your map, and you choose what to do about it. You see, he tells you it's your choice, but I'm just letting you know, I see you. Like, I see you. And that's a beautiful, that's deeper than I love you, because it's I see you is I see all of you, not just what you're portraying to do or to be, but your whole being, your whole soul. So, and you talked about a few things, but the one that is like the whole control
dramas.
dramas.
Yeah.
And what interests me the most is that you said even the aloof or quiet ones are pulling energy from the audience. It's that one kind of shook me, because you have the obvious ones where people that are just overbearing, controlling, and trying to take over, and then you have the quiet, aloof, like pulling from the side, like that one occasion that I told you about, that the energy was on the side and it felt like it was intrusive, but it was quiet intrusive. So it reminds me that some people are suck energy. That's an example, not that she's doing that, but there's some people that kind of stand on the sides quiet, but it's not about being quiet, it's about what's in here that's taking the energy or pulling energy from different people instead of from direct source, which is direct source is coming, God's up and down through you, which is something that you do a lot of the time. And so if you want to map out, if you want to point out those different control mechanisms, remind us all of what that is, because I think they need to know. So it's very important.
The reason why I even brought it up is because so you have your own gifts too, and so part of my genius is like you said, I recognize the whole map of somebody.
The treasure too.
Yeah, so I recognize your bullshit and your truth. I recognize your like stupidity and your genius, like all of that. Like so one of your gifts that is natural, it's like intuitive. It's, and I think you even trained in it. Is you immediately recognize people's energies and partly because of your conversations with me, you've learned how to logically explain it back to yourself about what it is.
Yeah.
So you sense the energy was off with this person, and you felt that even though she was quiet, there was intrusive energy.
Because you explained it though. Because I kind of just felt it as a human.
Yeah. And then I explained the backstory.
Exactly. And I really that put it into so much clear understanding. You see.
Yeah. So we have the intuition, and then so that's another false dichotomy that people have, that intuition and logic are two separate things, but they're actually together. They need to be together, because often we have the intuitive hit, but we don't understand what it is, and the logic helps you explain it. So, and if you don't have the logic to explain it, you could even go crazy sometimes. This is why some people become schizophrenics, because they don't have the grounding and the logic to explain what's happening to them. It's very jarring. Or sometimes you have an intuitive hit about somebody, but if you don't have the logic to explain it, then you think you're the crazy one, or that you're being judgmental of this person, right? But you didn't even know this person. You were like, oh, this person's intrusive. And so on the surface, it looks like you were judging this person, right? But no, that was a direct emotional hit. Like, it starts with the emotions.
Their emotions are out there, and, and even if they're quiet, it's expensive, right?
Right. And then once I told the backstory, and then we explained what the control dramas, that was the logic explaining it. So the control dramas there are 4 kinds of control dramas, and they're set up in 2 pairs of opposites. And usually it's inherited and then passed down generations. So for example, if you have a parent who is very interrogative, like questioning you all the time. And there's a difference between asking questions because you're curious about somebody and asking questions in an interrogative way, a very intrusive way.
Big difference.
So, yeah.
Big.
So if your parents are interrogative, whether they know this consciously or not, you as a child end up becoming aloof in response to that. And they're both dramas, controlling dramas, because they're both ways of sucking energy from each other instead of getting it from source energy directly from up here and from within, right? Because source energy is not just up here, but also within your body, like deep inside your own body, there is a source as well. So if you don't know how to do that, then you drain yourself, and then you like want to suck it from others when you're tired, right?
Oh, they suck it from you because you're not protecting
right,
yourself.
Exactly. So your parents' way of interrogating you is to suck your energy, and in response, in defense, you withdraw even more into yourself. So now it's like a war, like an energy war, right? When now they have to question you even more, so they have to pay even more attention to you. So it's really a battle for attention, attention. So that's how people suck energy, trying to manipulating people to get each other's attention, right? So they start asking you more and more questions, and you start moving more into more and more aloof. So it's your way of sucking the energy back, because now they have to pay even more attention to you, right? And then you end up passing it on to your children, because now you're aloof even towards your children. So they have to ask you questions. So they become intrusive people, like interrogative. And then their children become aloof. So it's a cycle, right?
You see, there was the two examples of that, of like what's an interrogative question and what's a curiosity, like if you want to separate that.
Sometimes it can even be exactly the same question. It's the tone, right? Like my example of the guy in the park, right? When I was doing my exercises, and he asked, like, what are you doing? And there are other people who've asked me the exact same question, what are you doing? And I've been able to answer it openly, because I like sharing. But this guy was like, it was as if like he was like my boss, or like a cop.
There's that energy coming through it.
Coming through that was intrusive.
You read that before the question.
Yeah, it was like, what are you doing? It's like he was questioning my existence. Like he was questioning what I was doing. Like I had no right to be doing that, right? And he had an agenda. Like, eventually he ended up hitting on me, right? So my intuition told me right from the beginning that there's something wrong with this guy, right? And eventually I told him, you need to leave right now. And then he tried to take advantage. And this is a form of manipulation, when people try to take advantage of your niceness or normalized politeness, is what I call it, rather than. And it's better to be kind than to be nice or polite, right?
Yes.
So then he asked me, oh, what, you don't like me anymore? And I'm like, first of all, like, I just met you. I have no obligation to like you, no responsibility to look like you. In fact, it's not my job to like you. It's
You're
your job.
detaching from his emotions.
Yeah,
it's manipulation.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you don't like me means, oh, you like me? What did I?
Right. It's like, what did I do wrong? So then I just ignored the question. Like, this is a technique called give and remove attention with purpose, where you remove attention from the question completely. And then you redirect this person. And I redirected. So I just removed my attention, ignored his question completely. And I redirected and said, either you leave or I leave. And that's when he said, okay, I'll leave. And he left. He got it, And so that's better than threatening him or asking him to leave, because I have no right to ask him to leave either, because I don't own the place. Although at first I said, you need to leave right now, right? So
his resistance will keep fighting, probably. His ego.
Like, even though I said it, I can't make him leave, right? So that's why I said, well, if you want to stay, you can stay. That's what I meant, but I'm gonna leave, right? So I said, either you leave or I leave. So he left. So beyond the words, is the energy and the tone and the intention. Like, even I was using energy in my words It wasn't just my. I first I ignored the question, then I redirected him, right, and told him what to do. So
because the energy was coming towards you, and you're like, "Hey,
right, exactly.
back it up."
Yeah. Or even you with like that guy, the CEO of the Alcoholic Center, and your ex-boyfriend, when the moment they shook hands, even though he was smiling, your ex was smiling and all that, he completely removed his attention and he just gave him his back.
Yep.
Immediately. Because he felt all the rage and the anger. I'm like, I'm not taking all of that energy coming at me.
He just went.
He just went. He flipped. He removed his attention.
Like he acknowledged his existence, but not his personality, nor his ego, nor his anger. He's just like, oh, you're there. Okay. Like, don't care.
Right. And so to somebody that's not trained in energy or trained in these forms of manipulation.
Because they'll take it, the average person.
Right. But I mean, to the outside observer who is programmed with this normalized politeness, I would have appeared very rude. Even that guy would have appeared very rude, right? But it's okay to be rude sometimes. Like, it's the kindest thing
to protect yourself.
To protect yourself and to protect the other person too from his own destruction. So yeah, that's why I say it's better to be kind than to be nice, and to be able to read energy too. This is why documenting all the different forms of manipulation are important too, all the forms of bullshit, because it's not the words, it's the
vibration to it. Sure.
I mean, in terms of words, even this guy in the park, he eventually started asking intrusive questions to me, like, do you have a husband? So that would be an intrusive question. Or he even asked me before that, he asked me, where do you live? Like, you don't ask that to somebody you just met, right? Yeah. Especially some random stranger in the park. So and even then it was also, again, even with that question, there was a tone to it too, and because there was another person that I met in the park, and where we had created such a rapport, she and I, that we eventually either revealed on our own or we asked each other where we lived, but it was mutual. It wasn't like one directional, but we had already created the rapport and the connection. So
maybe you also felt comfortable with the idea.
Also felt comfortable too.
Mutual comfort.
Yeah, mutual comfort. So it's always about,
because the other guy sounded like maybe he was entitled, like he's entitled to know everything about you if he asks.
Exactly, that was the biggest deal. Like, he felt entitled. That was his
your life, like almost like smelling that he can.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, put his claws on you and guide you the way he wants to. No, mess with the wrong person.
Yeah, exactly. It's so that's interrogating and then aloof, right? And then there's a more violent version of this dynamic, which is the poor me and their intruder, or the abuser, right? The violent abuser, which can be physically abusive or emotionally, verbally abusive, where now they've taken a step above interrogation. Now they're actually being straight up intrusive. They might even say stuff like, you're a piece of shit. They might hit you, right? And in response, instead of setting a boundary like I did with that other guy, right? You go into, oh, poor me, my life sucks, so the other person has to take pity on you and pay even more attention on you, right? So he was sucking your attention by hitting you or calling you a piece of shit, right? And your response is to suck the energy back by going, oh, I suck, my life sucks. Or, no, look what you did to me, right?
You're living their words.
Right, yeah. That's a great, there was a great TV show called Arrested Development, and the mom plays the perfect poor me character. Like, whenever people, like their children, like pointed out her flaws or like all of her like boundary violations, she would like just sit down and she would go, I'm a terrible mother.
Dramatic, sarcastic liar.
Yeah.
That's what I read. I know that.
Yeah.
It's like, look at me. I'm not that bad, but I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah, I'm a terrible mother, and that's who was
You're
perfect.
a terrible liar. That's who you are.
Yeah. So she was sucking back the energy, right? By sucking their attention back. So now they have to say, "Oh, you're not terrible. You're a good mother. Now they have to comfort you."
But that's control too. You said
exactly. That's control too. So
different form.
it's different. Yeah. So in layman terms, it's sucking people's attention. In more spiritual or woo-woo terms, it's like sucking energy, and you do it by sucking attention. So even the poor me is like you suck attention by making the other person want to comfort you now, right? Whereas the intruder is like
it's like stealing by force.
The intruder is just stealing by force. Yeah, it's plain stealing by force. Like he would just hit you and be like, now you have to pay attention to me.
I have the right to hate you. I have the right to your attention. I have the right to do whatever I want with you.
Right. And now you can, right, that's entitled too. So now you can't help but pay attention to me because I just hit you, right? If I verbally abuse you, like it's such a strong force of energy coming at you. And you have to, you have to give back energy to me, right? So those are the control dramas.
What's the solution to that?
The solution is, well, first to know that there's a problem, right? So now we know the problem. That's
identify the tactic.
Right. And then you keep sourcing yourself, you nourish yourself, first of all, so that you don't do that to others. So you meditate, you imagine there's like a light coming down your head and filling you up. There are so many methods of filling yourself up. You can go into nature.
Don't let your vibration lower for them.
Yeah. You hug a tree, right? Well, high vibe, you can be low vibe, but still be in an expanded state because it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to feel what's called the lower emotions. But if you're in resistance to that and you're not accepting it in yourself, then you restricted your energy. So it's not so much about high or low, but like
recognize
it's about big and small. It's about expensive and restricted. If you're resisting your own shame or your own sadness or anger and not feeling it, then it gets worse.
Does it get smaller?
It gets smaller and smaller, and now there are multiple layers of resistance, so you feel worse and worse, right?
As you get small, you're compressing almost.
And so now you become like this small vacuum that sucks everything.
I think you're saying that the word vacuum is a good term to put it at.
Yeah. It's so now, so if you allow yourself to feel everything, then you get into your pure being as freedom itself. And at the same time, you also imagine you're filling yourself up with light or hugging a tree, listening to songs. You don't even have to listen to happy songs. If you're sad, listen to a sad song so that you can feel it fully and sing a sad song. And then you sing a hopeful song, and then you might even sing a happy, angry song.
And don't deny your emotions.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
You rise, it's called the emotional ladder. You rise up the emotional ladder step by step rather than jumping.
So you're accepting your pain and then you're going from it. Or
you go into, because anger is like right in the middle. And then shame is like the lowest or the most restricted emotion. So you go into bigger and bigger emotions.
That's sort of like the heavens of the soul or something. It's like there's like half of the body down. It's
so many people resist their anger because after they feel sad or they feel the fear, because they've been taught that anger is bad. But if you're actually feeling angry, it's better than feeling scared. It's better than feeling shame. In fact, it's the middle point, the jumping off point, it's the bridge that you can use that energy of anger to jump off into bigger emotions, into the more expansive emotions like contentment or bliss or even love, right? But first you gotta fully feel the anger first, right? And I have a guided meditation too on like the gifts of anger, the gifts of sadness, and the gifts of fear. Because the flip side of fear is that it motivates you to stop running away from yourself and finally face yourself. The gifts of anger are many. There's at least 4 gifts, right? You know when there's a boundary violation. That's part 1. one gift of anger, knowing that your own value, deepest value, have been violated, knowing that your own limiting beliefs have been triggered. That's not a type of anger. Knowing that uh, this feedback loop between your own oppression and social repression. When you wake up to that too, you feel angry. So,
because you mentioned too the anger, like if you say like, oh, you're all nice and kind to people, but someone's attacking you, you're not just gonna take it. You're gonna have to get angry. You said that example.
Yeah, that's the anger from boundary violation. So if I hit you in the face, or if I'm about to hit you in the face, then you'll get angry, of course. Or if I verbally abuse you, then you'll get angry too, because I just violate your boundary, right?
And it's useful in a way, because if you just take it,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like that anger can be used to make a move, a change.
Exactly, it's a powerful emotion, because
it's so fast though. You know, it comes like 0 to 100,
and then it disappears. Yeah, so that you can jump up into the next emotion, right? Because I just hit you and just took away all of your energy so quickly.
Is that
you have
how
no choice?
That's what happens.
Yeah. So you have no choice but to respond with a surge of energy, which is anger, so that you can get your energy back and also rise up to the next emotion, up like a jumping off point.
So you're saying like if someone hits you, it's like boom, you know, they're stealing the energy by hit, physical contact.
Yeah.
It's just like
so your anger has two purposes. One is knowing that the boundary is violated. So it's a message, right? You just violated my boundary. The second is it's my way of getting back energy from souls. So you just took my energy so quickly. That's so shocking that I have no choice but
never
to
a good response.
Yeah. And because if I'm afraid of you, then I just go even lower. But if I'm angry, I use that as a jumping off point to jump and get into source energy, so that I get my energy back, so that I can respond to you and at least have the energy to tell you, hey, you just hit me, that is wrong. So that I can at least tell you peacefully, so that I don't hit you back, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. So, so that I can respond to you in a peaceful but powerful way and tell you like, hey, you just hit me and that's wrong, you know. Or in the case of the guy in the park, I told him to leave, right? I said, hey, this. So like
20 minutes.
So I didn't hit him. I didn't I was angry, but I didn't hit him. I didn't, threaten to hit him. So I used my anger as a jumping off point, because he just sent the life out of me, right? By asking me intrusive questions like, do you have a husband? And questioning my sexuality, all of that, right? And even assuming that he has a right to my, sexual boundary, right? So all of this entitled, like you said. So I use my anger at first as a message that something has gone wrong. That's the first purpose. The second is the jumping off point to use the energy of it so powerful, so that I can jump into the energy of bliss and wisdom and loving kindness and loving boundary too, where I started with firmness and force, but also with love. I said, you need to leave right now. Like there was no hate, there was no animosity, like there was anger, but there was no hate, right? And that's the other thing that people confuse, right? They think hate and anger are the same thing. It's not, right? And then when he tried to manipulate me further, I said, either you leave or I leave.
Like that was enough for you. Like
right. So yeah, that's that second point. I just realized that I was talking to you, that is a jumping off point into souls when you use it. I didn't even clearly recognize that before. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you. You said the other one. So hit, you take, and then the emotional is a full energy, like when like someone gets in a fight verbally. Is it like a fast way to grab that energy?
Right. Yeah. When you hit somebody, it's a fast way to grab that person's energy. Right.
When you verbally
abuse, it's a very similar thing. If I tell you that you're a piece of shit, it's just that's that's also like forcefully taking your energy, right? Yeah,
Imposing.
Forcefully taking your attention. Like you don't want that kind of attention from me.
If somebody calls you out in the street, you're gonna turn like, who's a piece of shit? You know, like it's an instant attention grabber, like you said.
Right.
But why do they do that? Why do we do that? We're lacking that
because we're
attention.
A lot of people are tired. They live in a world where they eat bad food, they don't exercise, they don't meditate, they are not reconnecting to their own souls. So they're living in very tired ways.
I like that.
They're very malnourished in many ways, no one to eat. Yeah. So it's very apt.
So low energy food, like they're
yeah.
So you're saying they have low attention to themselves, low energy, so they almost feel like they have to feed on from
they
things
feed
like
off
that.
From other people. Yeah.
Is it subconsciously or
it's a subconscious thing.
Damn.
Yeah. They probably don't even know that they're tired. Although psychopaths do it consciously, so that's a small group of people who know exactly what they're doing and they're doing it on purpose.
So why do they like? That's crazy.
Yeah, well, that's why they're psychopaths. They're crazy. But that's a small group of people. Like they're most people are doing it subconsciously.
Did someone like? How do they go? How do they cross that line? Were they born that way or like?
That's kind of debatable, but neuroscience studies have shown that at least some of them are born that way. Their brains are different. Like the neuroscan of the brain of a psychopath is different from a regular person's brain.
I would say they're born with, if you take it spiritual, with demoniac qualities by nature.
Yeah.
But maybe, it's a part of life too, right? Because they help those that, let's say if they're abusing somebody, they'll help that person eventually get tired of it and stop that and probably become like an advocate for it or something, to help others. Everything serves its purpose,
Right. Yeah. And in fact, remember I told you about the neuroscientist who was a psychopath and discovered he was a psychopath?
Yes.
And after the brain scans, like at first he couldn't believe it. He thought it was an accident. And they were like, he didn't know. And he was like, they were like, no, that's your brain. and once he knew, like, oh, and this is so important, this story, like with his wife, once he knew he was a psychopath, like he started changing himself. And like in a lot of the spiritual community, there's often this topic of like intention versus impact. And a lot of spiritual people like, oh, I didn't intend that. But impact is greater than intention. It's more important. It's so important to recognize this. And the story with the psychopath is so important. Like after a few years, like, his wife was like, I'm really happy that you're treating me better. And this guy who's a psychopath and a neuroscientist, and he replied, I don't really mean that, right? And his wife was like, I don't care. You're just treating me better. That's all that matters to me.
Damn.
So that blows away this idea that intention is more important. No, impact is more important. Like, he was like, I don't mean it, but I'm going to treat you better. I'm going to make a greater impact on you. Because I can't change myself. He was like, I'm a psychopath. I can't change myself. But I'm going to consciously try to treat you better.
Dang.
Right.
Dang.
Yeah. So that's another important thing to realize, that it's always about the impact, not about the intention. And that story is a powerful illustration of that. Right. And then speaking of which, like, how like men give compliments to women and they're always like, I'm well intentioned, but even that can be a way of sucking energy and sucking attention. Sucking attention, because you're not doing it because you actually care about the woman. You want her attention, or you want her approval.
Stealing her attention.
Yeah.
It's like throwing money.
Exactly. Yeah.
Of course you're gonna look at it. You're like, oh shit, money.
Right. Or paying for dates. It's almost like.
But that money doesn't have value in itself.
Right. It's almost like the same as paying a stripper or a hooker.
That's what I was thinking. She's going to give you attention because it's in your face. It's like, here's the money. Yeah. But do they care about you in your life? No, the mutual understanding is just money, you
Right.
know, but
Yeah.
you are consciously throwing it out there because you
Mhm.
want to buy that attention.
Mhm. Yeah.
And you're gonna expect a lot if you pay somebody. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
a lot of abuse
Yeah.
probably in that. You know.
And so men that don't have money, they use compliments as a currency, right?
Good point. It's
So
money.
it's a form of money for them.
That's a really
Yeah.
that's like a really good
Yeah.
analogy. Is that what?
Yeah.
Oh damn.
Yeah. Because there's a higher level where it's about appreciating somebody for their gifts, or just appreciating them as they are.
Mhm.
And when you do that, you don't even need to verbally give a compliment sometimes. You
Just
can,
is, right?
and you just, by your very presence, they feel appreciated, right?
A compliment is like money. You think that
Right,
it's gonna
yeah,
make your
yeah,
big pocket bigger, but it's that money has
mhm,
really no value if there's no like
mhm,
a good intention behind it. You know what I mean?
right, yeah,
Not all money is good money.
mhm,
Not all money is good
right.
money.
And also, when you have that mindset, you're unwilling to point out the bullshit too.
You know what?
Yeah,
I'm actually gonna, when somebody says something to me, I'm gonna try to see what kind of money it is because it's currency, which is energy.
yeah,
What do you like? What is the intention behind it? Because if
mhm,
it's you giving to a homeless out of your own heart, it's different than you giving to a homeless in front of your friend. So your friend can think that you're a good person.
exactly.
But when they're not there, you're like, I don't fucking even look at them.
Mhm,
You know?
mhm. Yeah. In fact, there are even some people
It's
like who give to the homeless because they want to earn good karma and good merit. A lot of Buddhists do
it's
that.
like Christians too, trying to
Yeah,
like convert
because
to
they want to
get
go to heaven. Yeah.
be in a special space.
Right. Rather than because they just want to dismantle the system, which is why even and that's like a little bit of side topic. But I would rather work on dismantling the system rather than give money to a homeless person. It's which is why I donate on a monthly basis to the Strike Debt Project because the debt-based fiat currency is the number one cause of all of these problems, right? And if I do give money to a homeless or food, I would rather do it in the moment because I just feel really moved by this person and I
Yeah.
just want to help this person in that moment rather than because I want to get good karma. That's a little bit off from
Well,
me.
Muslims too. That's one
Yeah.
of their like
Mhm.
to do, so that someone will feel like, okay, I
Right.
have to because it's fear, you
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
not heart driven,
Yeah.
but fear driven.
Yeah.
There's a book that I read that it back to what you were saying. It's like don't give your money to poor, let's say like to like poor people and stuff, and you're like spreading the money and stuff. Because you're not helping them. You're helping them be more poor. Like if you're going to contribute in that big way, give them tools, like, you know,
Exactly.
education,
Yeah,
reading, water,
because
that's going to get them out when you die, when you don't give anymore. Like that's actually a progressive way of helping somebody, not just by, let's say your friend's going through a lot and stuff, like you see the issue. It's like, yeah, you can go, oh, poor you, and support their poor you, or you can be like, okay, well, I don't know if you've seen this part that, you know, that's affecting you a lot, but as a friend, I'm letting you know this part is important.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not going like, if someone's ill, oh, poor you, you're ill. No, it's like, okay, think of things, you know, you're there in the companionship, you're having a great meal, you're not crying over the illness, you know, you should be like, oh, I think the intention of it is like, oh, let's share a meal together and just spend time and forget. Your illness is one thing, but it's not all of you. It's just a part of a tiny situation. So you're not amplifying the issue, but you're actually almost like calming the waters when the ocean tides are high with your presence, with your love, with the compassion, like just understanding, you know, seeing everything about them.
Yeah.
If you have an illness, okay, you got it, but it's not all your illness. That's not what you are to me. That's what you're saying to the person. You mean way more. Like you're way more than your illness or your situation or, you know, your pain.
Yeah.
But you understand and recognize what it is. You're not denying it. You understand, and you're like, but I'm here for you. You know, I'm here right now in this moment. So
yeah, like right now I am collaborating with a woman who left an abusive marriage in which the husband was hitting her and all of that.
Oh, you were saying.
And now she's created a nonprofit where she's giving other women who are in abusive marriages or who left abusive marriages tools of empowerment, like I'm doing, like what I do for the clients, we're probably most likely gonna do it for free for these women as a nonprofit endeavor. So that's that is better than just giving them money, right? Because giving them money is also part of like what I call the savior complex, where it's like, I'm gonna save them rather than, so now I'm superior to them, rather than I'm helping you because I know that liberating you also liberates me. Like your liberation and mine is tied together because we're both part of a system that's fucked up.
That's like you saying, right now that you're saying, that's what you do with people, and I'm sure you do it with your clients, and I felt it too. You walk along with me, not in front of me nor behind me. It's like a companionship, but you're like, let's go on this journey together. Let me show you what I see, and you show me what you see, and together let's find that middle ground. But you're not going in front of them. Like a lot of like church leaders or priests, they're like, oh, I'm better, I got it, I'm the one of the special human beings by God, and you're not, so let me tell you how much you're not. You're like, I'm gonna walk right by you, right next to you, not in front of you and not behind you. And that's really a good friendship, when you're right next to each other, shoulder to shoulder, head to head. You're not saying I'm more or less than you, I'm with you right here in this moment. That's right now. Anyway, so you do that. So that's what I'm telling you. You do that. You do that.
Yeah, because I want us to be equals, and even you and I, like whoever's watching this after I upload it, like you have some amazing gifts as well to share, and I'm sharing this so that you can recognize your own patterns as well as other people when they're manipulating you or bullshitting you, so that you don't
happens everywhere.
Which happens everywhere, so that you can turn away and reconnect back to yourself, to who you really are, to your own gifts, so that you're not sucked into like other people's agendas, right? Yeah. But back to what I said earlier about if you see a homeless person and you're like moved by it, and you just want to like share some food, like that's okay, right? Like it happened to you one time, you saw the homeless woman in the rain, and you just felt like you wanted to buy her shoes, or like,
if it happens, then like I'll cry if I don't do it. I'm crying internally when I see it. I'm like, because it's like
she didn't even have slippers or shoes, right? Like
it was like holes, and I mean, to me, orphans make me fucking cry, because I think that's the worst situation you can be in. It's very tough. But women and anybody, you see a dog in the street, all skinny and wounded up, there's something inside of you that you just can't ignore. Some people look the other way. I don't know how they can do that. But even if you don't do anything, as a human being, you feel something. You know what I mean? Like there's a feeling internally that's like damn, I feel your pain right now.
So that's also walking side by side, because you felt their pain, and that's why you wanted to help that person.
She didn't ask for help. She wasn't begging, actually. Quite the opposite. She was rejecting help. But something internally in the circumstance, you're like, you don't have to say anything. It's like when you're going through something and you look at them, you just know. They don't have to say much. Or when somebody's probably been abused, like you said, like the woman or the husband, you probably can see in her eyes, like she doesn't have to say much. You just know, like, oh, she needs a hug, or she needs to be heard. It's really not ignoring that, because as humans, we all see it, but a lot of us ignore it. But if we listen to that, which is intuition or human nature, I don't know what you call it, but I think we would be more connected to each other. You know what I mean? Walk alongside to each other, not away or ignore or whatever we do nowadays. So.
And in that moment, there's an urgency where that woman.
I have to do it. Boom. Like she's gonna die. Her survival. Like.
Exactly. And we can be patient at that moment. So we need, and there's a time.
It's bothering, It's
right.
like.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And there are so many urgent problems in the world, and the homelessness is part of a greater problem where the entire system is fucked up. And there's an urgency to like dismantle that system and create a new one. And for me, that's where my urgency comes from too, where when I'm helping somebody either at the systemic level, when I donate to the Strike That project, or even when I talk to her or my clients, or when I see a homeless person and I feel moved to help, it comes from a sense of urgency of how the entire system is messed up. And and I want to do what I can to help both at the individual level and at the systemic level. And it's important to help at both levels.
Yeah.
Not just individual empowerment, but systemic change. You know, like I feel like having a better transportation system is far more healing than any meditation or any form of healing modality. You know, it's a great example of how systemic change changes the communities, even right here in Tustin, like in my neighborhood. Like there used to be a very dirty squash court, uh, and it was like very run down and attracted drug dealers and smokers, and they had to call the police all the time. And I think the city finally got sick and tired of calling, you know, having to send the cops over all the time. So they finally like dismantled the entire squash court. They destroyed it, and they replaced it with a free outdoor gym in the park. And it still exists to this day. Now it attracted different kinds of people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those people stopped coming. It attracted people who want free exercise. You save money on gym membership. You know, people pay $30 a month, you know, on gym, sometimes more. And this is free, a free resource for the community. So it attracted people who exercise, who are more in their bodies, more grounded. And when other people see them exercise, they want to exercise too. So change the entire community, change the individual behavior because the system changed.
Yeah.
So it's important to be aware in these conversations of both the individual empowerment and the community influences, the systemic influences too. You know, and this is why I'm so passionate about this, because I recognize both. And so this whole conversation is about both and, right? Recognize the urgency and the patience, recognize the problem and the solution, the truth and the bullshit, the stupidity and the genius.
Mm-hmm.
And part of my genius is, like you said, recognizing the entire map of it all.
You can see both sides, and work with them to find that middle path in a way, you know.
Right.
I mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
Not ignoring it. Oh, it's all good, and it's all, and my vibration's high, and the spiritual, like, positive. Don't talk to me if you're negative. It's like it takes a balanced person to be okay with both the dark and the bright, because they're both needed.
Yeah.
And a lot of spiritual leaders, and I put quote because I don't think they are, they ignore that dark side. The dark side of the moon. But just like you got the whole moon, not just with shining on one side. Point out the flashlight to the darkness as well.
And embrace all, hear the message of all of these emotions. I think this will be, maybe this might be the final story for this talk. Well, I was at this workshop, it's called Contact Improv, where we play with each other using movement and expression. And I just had this pain come up, this tension come up in my body. And I asked the tension for the message, and the message was fear. So I asked what fear specifically. It was like fear of hurting others, right? And especially fear of hurting women. And so I decided I need to feel this fear fully and feel the message. So I went to the bathroom and I fully felt it and fully face myself, right? Because that's the gift of fear, to fully face yourself. And then the emotion of sadness came in to help release the fear. And then I suddenly had tears, and I found myself literally like curling up into a ball and just bawling, just crying, you know. And then I felt better, like both the fear and the sadness was gone. It was just released, you know. It reminds me of reminds me of this like really funny YouTube video of like I think there was this baby and the mom. I think the mom was tearing off the newspaper. I think she was blowing her nose, and every time she blew her nose, like the baby would look with fear in his eyes, like fear and shock. He'd go, and then he would just start cracking up. And then she would blow her nose and she would like, and then start cracking up, And because the baby has no judgment about these emotions, he's able to like jump quickly back and forth.
Cleaner, like
like clean. And the mom itself is an amazing person to not be protective, right? To not be overly protective and be like, oh, I'm gonna stop blowing my nose so that you're not scared. No, she kept blowing her nose. She kept letting it happen so that the baby realizes it's not a big deal, right?
That's good.
Yeah.
That's a good mom.
Yeah.
It's like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And the baby's learning, oh, it's not bad. It's
right.
not that bad.
Mm-hmm. Whereas we as adults, we're not able to go that fast because we judge our emotions so
they
much.
Go and get drunk, they go and hit cocaine, they go and hit weed. They're like, oh, fuck that, and they do this temporary blindfolding.
Exactly. Speaking of cocaine, there was a music album by Tori Amos called Little Earthquakes. And she's a singer and writer who, like, when she writes her songs and sings them, she just puts her whole heart into the song, like the whole soul into it, all her pain, her heartbreak. And so somebody uploaded the entire album to YouTube, and I saw comments from at least three guys, who all said very similar things. They all said, your music was what healed me from heroin addiction, cocaine addiction, because it was the only thing that could help me feel. And I was like, wow.
It pulled out the emotions that they were bottling up and stuff.
So they could feel it and cry and release it like I did when they feel.
And they stopped their addiction.
They stopped their addiction.
That is like hard,
Yeah.
Not that I've done it, but I work with people that I don't know how cocaine works, but I know like opiates and stuff are like the mind just sees it more important than food. So
yeah, and so that goes to show also the power of music to help people feel and the power of art to do that. Yeah.
What is the name of the
Tori Amos?
And what's the name of the songs? Just Tori Amos album or something?
Tori Amos Little Earthquakes album. So there's songs, there's at least 10 songs in them, like Winter.
So they healed through the whole
album, healed them, not just one song. Right?
Can I write it down? I'm gonna give this to a friend that's actually hits cocaine.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't tell anybody, but he told me, and I thought like.
Oh yeah, I was gonna give you this card anyways.
Oh.
It is from Julie, who is a vegan chef.
Oh, okay.
And so I asked an extra card. Oh, Tori Amos, I'll write it down now.
What is that? Look at that guy right here. Y'all can't see it, but right there.
Oh yeah, now you can see. Yeah. Who is that?
What is that?
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for always being authentic and a light in the fucking world full of darkness.
Thank you. All right. Have a great day, y'all.
There you go.
Bye.